That was a very, that was hard. She was in hospital. Well, she went to hospital for just a check-up, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I followed her down the hospital, and literally they went to me, yeah, scrubs, baby's coming out in 10 minutes. It was literally like, what? I was like, whoa, she's only 7 months. She's like, no, baby's got to come out now. Because the baby's in distress, needs to come out.
So we did know that she had Down syndrome. We had the blood tests that had said she had Down syndrome. But obviously we didn't know that she was going to come that early, and then all the other things that have happened because of the prematurity, not just with the Down syndrome. So we were in hospital for 74 days after she was born. She got to come home, and then she was still struggling with her breathing. She only ever came home, I think,
4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks was the longest we'd ever had her home. She was normally 2 days, 3 days, and then she'd end up not well again and back in hospital. When we went to Alder Hay, they were just so wonderful.
Brilliant.
And they found out that she had all these other things going on that we weren't aware of, and then they have done all sorts, and it was them who set us up with you guys to be able to come and basically just let us have some breathing space now and again, just because it's non-stop. It literally is non-stop all the time. So here gives us that space to reset and get ready for the next period, whatever you decide to surprise us with at that time. The first 2 years with Betty has basically been living in either our local hospital or in Alder Hay, up until, well, at least until she was 15 months old. With her, it went from going home without a baby, when you've just had a baby, which in itself is really difficult to do when you know your baby's in the hospital, but you can't stay for 3 months in a hospital when you've got other children at home. So trying to balance the other children's needs with actually being able to try and bond with a baby that's living in an incubator in itself is really hard. And her first birthday, she was in hospital, so we never got to celebrate her first birthday. Her first Christmas, she was in hospital. Her first New Year, her first Easter, her first Halloween, her first everything, she was in hospital. We never got one first with you at home, did we? We've done it all in hospital. We have now, thankfully, had a couple of second things that we've had at home. We're hoping to have a second birthday at home. It's looking good so far. You miss out on so much, and then the children never got a sibling because she was just not there at any point. And it's just hard. It's hard to make sure that the other children get what they need and that she still gets a family and doesn't just get left in a hospital room somewhere without us. And then obviously her milestones have all been completely different. So obviously normally children are breastfed or bottle fed, whereas she was tube fed, and then now she is peg fed. The milestones make a huge difference. So like when she eventually gave us that first smile, it was completely magical.
Oh, it was boss woman.
Yeah, and she's just recently learned to sit up unaided. Even the other children were ecstatic that she could sit up by herself. So each milestone is much longer coming, but is so much more magical. No matter how tired you are or how much it all seems, you know that at some point close in the future, you're going to be able to just take over, and we don't have to even think about her. We don't have to think about how many meals are left on a feed. We can just hand her over, and then I use that time to go and do stuff with the other children that I can't do with her. It sometimes strikes me when she's here how much the others don't get. So her being here means that I don't have to have the guilt. I can still go and do the fun stuff. We can go on our days out. We can go to the beach if we want. Zoe's place just allows us to just go and do all that. And it's not just the physical act of having her for me. The experience that you can share from other people means I don't have to figure that out for myself in a year's time. Near enough every single time when I've said I'm struggling with this, somebody here has had the answer. Even on the fun days, you come here for the siblings and for her to have a good time. And then I end up coming away with loads of information that's giving me shortcuts for things, or it's more than just taking care for a couple of days. It's more than that. It's, as you say, it's for the whole family really. We all get a benefit in different ways from it, and she has lots of fun. If we could have one Christmas wish, like wave a magic wand, it would be that everybody was at home, no one was unwell, there was no prospect of a pending hospital visit, and not just for us either, like for everyone that comes to Zoe's place. I'd like everyone to have their children at home, because it's hard when they're not.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Like, it's hard anyway, but at Christmas it's particularly hard because that's when they're meant to be at home.
Yeah.